Welcome to another day of reading of the book Surcharged with Divine Love, written by Sukmani Aunty and published by Unistar Books Private Limited. Chapter 23, Non-Vegetarian Food and Spirituality. Guruji never stopped anyone from eating anything until he saw that in the long run it's going to harm us. Even for non-veg, he says it's a person's quota. He or she has to eat how much is written in their quota. When he said that meat is going to cause some illness in someone, only then did Guruji intervene and stop that person from eating. Guruji never interfered in the free will or personal choices of a person till he felt the need to in order to save him. मीट खान तो मैं मना नहीं करदा क्योंकि जिसने जिन्ना खाना है ਉਹ ਖਾਊਗਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਮੀਟ ਖਾਣ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੋਏਗੀ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਪਾਵਰ ਨਾਲ ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਹਾਂ He also used to say that human body is not meant to eat non-veg. For someone who is walking on the spiritual path, eating non-veg food is a hindrance. So whoever wants to walk the spiritual path will eventually have to give it up. Guruji once gave a beautiful example. When you go to a garden or a farm, all your senses open up. Your eyes open up to soak in the beautiful view. Your nose wants to smell the fragrance. Your ears love the sound of birds, and your tongue will want to taste all the fresh vegetables and fruits. All your five senses are open and happy. But in a slaughterhouse, when an animal is slaughtered, one closes one's eyes at the sight of blood. You don't want to touch all that blood. One tends to close one's ears to the screams of the animal. The smell makes one nauseous. Only the tongue is wanting to taste it. All your other senses close up. So how can something that makes you cringe be good for you? Always eat what makes your senses feel open and happy, not what makes them close up. The emotions of the animal during the slaughter, mostly fear I presume, will stay with the meat that you consume and will in the long run affect your body and mind negatively. I am not giving this example to make people who consume non-veg food feel bad, fearful or criticize them in any way. I am just stating what I was told by Guruji. I am the last person to judge anyone or preach. Many non-vegetarian people argue the fact that even plants and vegetables have life and that vegetarians are equally guilty of killing and eating them. This is not the case. Plucking fruits and vegetables is not equal to slaughtering an animal because of the number of elements that are active in them is different. There are 5 elements within us: earth, Prithvi, water, Jal, fire, Tejas, wind, Vayu, and space, Akash. In the plant kingdom, only the water element is active and the other 4 are dormant. This means that it does not feel any pain or have any emotions. The karma created by eating these vegetables is cleared easily by our daily prayers. In the animal kingdom, all 4 elements except Akash are active. This means they have emotions and can feel pain. Therefore, killing them creates a bigger karma. Another incident that I must share here is something that taught me a huge lesson. While we were sitting with Guruji in the Jalandhar Mandir, a couple came to get their son blessed. The son was a special child who needed constant care. After a long thought, Guruji said, "Do you know why you were given a child with special needs?" "No, Guruji, we are guessing it's our karma," replied the couple. Guruji then explained. I don't want to name the places, but Guruji gave the exact time and location. He said, in the year 1900 something, you were traveling. A deer came in front of your car and you ran over it. Is that correct? The couple were very surprised to hear this from Guruji and said, yes, it is correct. The deer was pregnant at the time, and before dying, she cursed you for killing her child, and that is why you have a son who is not normal. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਉਸ ਹਿਰਨ ਦੀ ਬਦਦੁਆ ਲੱਗੀ ਹੈ. When I heard this, I was really shaken. Till date, these words are etched in my mind. This proved the fact that animals have emotions, but I had no idea that animals can curse too, and this was a very valuable lesson I learned that day. Kindness to animals. Chapter 24. The year 2014. In the year 2014, 3 days before Guruji's Mahasamadhi, I had a telepathy that Guruji has come to me and is saying, Sukhmani, मैं 31st को चंडीगढ़ आ रहा हूँ, तेनू मिलांगा. I'm coming to Chandigarh on the 31st. We'll meet you. While he's saying this to me, he changes his face to a different one that is very dark complexioned. In my telepathy, I try to remove that face from my mind as I feel my Guru is so beautiful. Then why do I see such an ugly dark face? I could not make any sense of it at all, but was very happy to know that he plans to give me darshans on Mahasamadhi day. On his Mahasamadhi day, my mother and I usually make food and go distribute it amongst the poor children. On that particular day, someone came over for lunch and we could only go out in the evening at about 6 p.m. to distribute the food packets. In the evening, there are a lot of children in that particular spot where I go, but that day I could see no one. Suddenly, my eyes went to three sadhus in saffron robes. I told Mom, since there are no children around, might as well give them the food packets. Mom got down from the car to ask them if they would accept some food, and they readily agreed. She started distributing the food, and seeing her, a lot of children and elderly also suddenly appeared out of nowhere. While she was busy distributing the packets, one of the three sadhus, the one who was very dark complexioned, came towards my car. Since my wallet was on the dashboard and he was standing very close, my mind just stayed in my wallet. I completely forgot about Guruji's telepathy. The first thing he said to me was, तूने 3 महीने से पाठ बंद किया हुआ है, फिर से स्टार्ट कर. You have not been doing your prayers for the past 3 months. You must start again. This was in fact very correct, and no one in my family except my mother knew that I had stopped doing my prayers for the past 3 months. He told me a few other things as well, but my mind just could not connect the dots. The same sadhu then walks towards my mother and says, Auntie, Guru Dakshina to de de. Auntie, give me Guru Dakshina. Guru Dakshina refers to the tradition of repaying one's teacher or guru after a period of study or an acknowledgement to a spiritual master. Again, it did not strike me that only a guru will ask for Guru Dakshina, no one else. Mom did not make the connection either, and since her packets had all finished, she folded her hands and said she had nothing left. चल फिर, और कुछ नहीं तो वो जो सीट पे खाली लिफाफा पड़ा है वही दे दो गुरु दक्षिणा. If nothing else, give me the empty carry bag as Guru Dakshina. Without thinking, my mother handed over the empty bag to him, and all three folded hands and walked away. As I drove away, it all started to fall in place. I suddenly remembered Guruji's telepathy and the dark complexioned face that I saw. I had an uncanny feeling that the face Guruji showed me was the same as that of the sadhu I had just met. I wanted to turn my car around and go back, but I knew they wouldn't be there. I did not dare tell Mom anything because I was the one who was making such a hue and cry about meeting Guruji, and when I was actually face to face with him, I completely blanked out. I went home with a very heavy heart. At 2 a.m., when Mom gets up for her prayers, she suddenly heard Guruji, Sukhi, tu sanu pehchaniya hi nahi. Asi Brahma te Vishnu naal aaye si. Sukhi, you didn't recognize me. I came with Brahma and Vishnu. My mother came to my room and in a roundabout manner tried asking me if I had felt anything while talking to the three sadhus. I finally told her that I think the dark complexioned one was the same face as Guruji had shown me in telepathy, and that I had missed my opportunity. Mom then told me what she had just experienced, and so we were both convinced it was Guruji we had met that evening. We both stood in front of his photograph and did ardas. We asked for forgiveness and also prayed for him to give us clarification on the 1% doubt we still had on whether it was indeed him who had come to us in the form of a sadhu. After completing my prayers, when I slept again, I saw Guruji in telepathy, and I see him walking towards me as Guruji, then suddenly change his form to that of the dark complexioned sadhu I had met the previous evening. He then shows me the empty carry bag that mom had given to him as Guru Dakshina. Waving the bag in front of me, he says, "Is this proof enough?" I was now 100% sure it was Guruji who gave me his darshans as promised. It was in 2014 when I had bought a new car. "ਸੁਖਮਨੀ, ਤੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਕਾਰ ਚਲਾਣਾ ਸਿੱਖ ਲੇਂਗੀ ਤਾਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਇਆ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ." "Sukhmani, when you start driving well, you can then take me around in your car." Even though I had started driving confidently by the year 1997-98, I didn't get a chance to drive Guruji as he had left for Delhi by then. The day the new car came, I was feeling sad because I so wanted Guruji to sit in my car. My father suggested I take it to a Gurdwara and seek blessings, which I did, but my heart wanted Guruji. That night in my telepathy, I see Guruji come and sit in my new car. He opens the door of the back seat and tells me, "Chal Sukhmani, sair kara sanu." Come on, take me for a drive. So in my telepathy, I drive him around in my new car. The next day, there was a satsang in Panchkula, and mom suggested that I take Sangat in my car if I wanted it blessed. I did just that. I drove 3 people from the Sangat and mom to the satsang venue. After Langar, all 5 of us had this strong feeling to get up and leave. On our way back at about 11:30 p.m., my car stopped at the traffic lights of a very busy intersection. There is always very heavy traffic there, and I have never seen a beggar on that road as the traffic is very fast moving. There was just one other car next to mine, and the road was completely empty. Suddenly, a man materializes right in front of my car. None of us saw him approach the car. He was wearing a long kurta and a dhoti with a cloth tied on his head. He was holding a long stick and loudly greets us by folding his hands and saying, "Namaskar." I looked towards the other car and tried to see if they were as surprised to see him as we were, but they all seemed unaware of his presence. All 5 of us then saw yellow light coming from his eyes. I got so scared that my first reaction was to lock the car. As I did that, he walked towards my window and gives me a very sweet, naughty smile, and he touches my car and says, "Chal ja." He never asked for anything and started to walk away. The light turned green and I tried to look for him, but in my rear view mirror I couldn't see anyone. I told everyone in the car to turn around and see where he had gone. No one could see anything. It was a dark, empty road. Guruji gave me darshans twice in 2014. I realized, and this is my personal opinion, that Guruji doesn't need to take birth and come back. He can and probably will just walk in. Chapter 25. Guruji's Strange Ways of Treatment. "Guruji, you have the strangest ways of curing people," I asked him one day. "ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਉਰ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੁਝ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਮੇਰੀ ਪਾਵਰ ਹੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਉਰ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਬੀਇੰਗਸ ਦੀ ਮੈਂਟੈਲਿਟੀ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਮੈਂ ਕੁਝ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਦੇਵਾਂ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਿਲੀਵ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਉਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ। I don't need to do anything to cure you people. My power is enough to cure you once you come near me. If I don't tell you to do something, you will not believe I have cured you. A human being's mentality is such," he said. "And why do you cure diabetics with sweetmeats and jalebis and ulcers with hot spicy chutneys? These are the things one must avoid when diagnosed with these illnesses," I asked. Guruji laughed and with a naughty look on his face answered, "ਇਹ ਮੇਰਾ ਟੈਸਟ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕੌਣ ਮੇਰੇ 'ਤੇ ਫੁੱਲ ਫੇਥ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ। ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਫੇਥ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਖਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਦੀ ਸ਼ੂਗਰ ਮੈਂ ਜੜ੍ਹੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਕੱਢ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਹਾਂ। ਜੋ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਅਗਰ ਮਗਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਸ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਦਾ ਪਿਓਰ ਕਿਓਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਦ ਤੱਕ ਮੈਂ ਨਾ ਚਾਹਾਂ। That is my test. I see if you have enough faith in me to trust me with your life and health. Those who do eat the sweetmeats without hesitation, in spite of high diabetics, those are the ones who pass my test and whose illness I eradicate from the root. He further added, those who get into ifs and buts will not be cured fully unless I choose to. He went on to explain, ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਇਲਾਜ ਮੰਗਣ ਨਾ ਆਇਆ ਕਰੋ, ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਸ਼ਰਧਾ ਤੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਨਾਲ ਆਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਭ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ, ਮੰਗਣ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਹਾਪੁਰਸ਼ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੱਕ ਥੱਲੇ ਖਿੱਚ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਖੁਦ ਨਾਸਤਿਕ ਬਣ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ। Don't come to me for cures. Come to me with faith and love, and I will cure you without you asking me to. Don't bring a Mahapurush down to your level by asking him to cure you. By asking you become a Nastik. Guruji, what about the spoon that you use to cure people? How does that work for you? I asked. That spoon is my stethoscope. I can see everything in it. I remember being treated numerous times by the application of that spoon, and there were days when the spoon became so hot that one could not hold it. I never had to tell what was hurting, and he would always seem to know. Apart from the spoon, I have had many treatments done by the use of betel leaves. They were always kept over the area that needed treating, and many a times they too used to become hot and seemed to burn with the heat. Why betel leaves? Can any other leaves be used? I asked Guruji. Betel leaf is the purest. It's because of this reason that it's a favorite with all gods, he said. Guruji, what about the copper vessels and pots you bless and give to certain people to drink water out of? I asked. I wanted to know if it was good to drink water out of copper vessels in general, or was there something more to it? ਤਾਂਬੇ ਦੀ ਕੜਵੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਬਲੈਸਿੰਗਸ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਫੁੱਲ ਲਾਈਫ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਰੋਜ਼ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਬਣਿਆ ਕਰੂਗਾ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਿਮਾਰੀਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਦੂਰ ਰੱਖੇਗਾ Those are my blessings to you for your entire life. The ones I have blessed will remain blessed, and the water will turn to Amrit and will keep you away from diseases. Mahaprasad, or the remnants of a guru's food and drink, has such high potency that when taken by the disciple can cure him of the most incurable diseases and can elevate him spiritually. Guruji gave Mahaprasad to a very few selective disciples. The day any one of us got his Mahaprasad, we would be on top of the world. The value of a Guru's Mahaprasad will become clear with the following incident. My mother and I were sitting with Guruji in the Jalandhar temple with a few others when there walked in two women dressed in their fineries. Guruji was having his tea when he suddenly placed the leftover tea in front of one of them and said, Auntie, drink it. She in return told Guruji that she doesn't drink anyone's leftover tea. We tried to tell her it was his blessings that he is giving to you in the form of his tea, but there was no reasoning with that woman. She was adamant and didn't want any of it. Guruji smiled and gave it to someone else who gratefully drank every last drop of it. After about a month, we happened to be sitting with Guruji again when late at night there was a knock on Guruji's temple door. We saw four men bringing a lady on a stretcher and putting her at Guruji's feet. They were all crying and told Guruji that the doctors had given up on her. We recognized her to be the same lady who had refused to drink Guruji's leftover tea. Auntie, ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਮਹਾਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਦ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਤੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਸੀ I don't drink ਜੂਠਾ, ਉਸ ਦਿਨ ਮੈਂ ਇਸੀ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਦਾ ਇਲਾਜ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸੀ। ਜੇ ਤੂੰ ਉਸ ਦਿਨ ਮੇਰੀ ਚਾਹ ਪੀ ਲੈਂਦੀ ਤਾਂ ਇਸ ਹਾਲਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ। Auntie, that day when I gave you my tea, you said you don't drink others' leftover tea, but I had foreseen your illness and had given you my tea for this reason only. Had you accepted my blessings that day, you wouldn't have been in such a condition. We all knew that our Guru was too kind and forgiving and would still save her, and that's exactly what he did. Guruji, I don't like going to the dentist. I hate that chair and I'm very scared, I told Guruji one day. With all due respect to all dentists around the world, I never was their biggest fan. What happened? He asked. Guruji, I have been diagnosed of a deep bite. I had it rectified as a child, but it seems to have relapsed.
The doctor suggests braces. Being in college, I was just as any other young girl, not keen on having my looks spoiled. Does that mean your teeth will fall off sooner than other people? He asked. Well, yes, something like that. What should I do? You don't want braces? He inquired. No, Guruji, I won't look pretty. Guruji chose to test me at that moment. He said, there is a fakir in Panchkula who applies a paste on a person's teeth and the teeth remain good for 5 years. Go to him. Fakir? Why should I go to fakirs when I have you? Besides, he can just cure me for 5 years. What happens after 5 years? I want a permanent solution. He laughed and said, can't have you look old with all your teeth falling off. Show me your teeth. On seeing my teeth, he commented, you have teeth like mine. He pushed some of my teeth, then pulled at some, and finally said, there you go. I have cured your problem. They won't fall off now. I was mighty pleased and needless to say never went back to that dentist. The next day, when I reached the temple, I was told Guruji had gone out and that I should wait for him. Within an hour, Guruji walked in and went straight to his room. He called my mother and me inside, and I saw he was in pain. Guruji, what happened? I asked. I have had an operation done on one of my teeth, and that's hurting badly. Tomorrow I have to go and have the same procedure done on the other side, he answered. My heart sank. I had a real bad feeling about this, and as I was about to ask him, he nodded in affirmation. Yes, I have taken all your dental problems that were yet to come onto yourself. A patient of hernia once came to Guruji in severe pain. Guruji, please bless me. I don't want to undergo an operation, he begged. Guruji looked at him and said, okay, if you don't want to undergo an operation, then do one thing for me while I'm out. I'll do anything, Guruji. Please help me, he went on. Carry all my flower pots that you see here to the terrace and bring all the ones on the terrace down. Remember, you mustn't take anyone's help. Having said this, Guruji went out of the temple. In Guruji's absence, he very sincerely did as he was told. In spite of having pain, he had so much of faith in his Guru that he was willing to die trying. He soon realized that the more pots he carried, lesser was his pain. When the last pot was left to bring down, Guruji came back to the temple and called for him. So, how many pots are left? Guruji, just one more to go, he replied. Bring the last one down as well, or else the operation I have performed on you will be incomplete. Guruji jokingly said. He brought down the last pot, and that was the end of his pain. He never had the problem of hernia again. In Chandigarh, where Guruji used to go for his evening walks, there was an old lady with a stick who could hardly walk. One day Guruji just kicked her walking stick and continued walking. That lady became so furious with Guruji that she walked behind him hurling abuses at him. Guruji continued walking unfazed. After having taken almost of half a round of the park, Guruji stopped and turned around to talk to her. Mataji, instead of abusing me, why can't you see that you have walked all this distance without a stick, whereas earlier you could hardly even walk with its support? She seemed to be in shock because she could not talk. She would sometimes look at her stick and sometimes at Guruji and couldn't believe that she walked all this distance without one. Ever since childhood, I have experienced pain on the left side of my chest. Many times I would get myself checked, but no one could tell me why I was experiencing this pain. The doctors told me that it could be either a muscular pain or something psychological. I never mentioned this to Guruji, and one evening after finishing my work at the temple, I was called to sit beside him. You have always had chest pains. Yes, Guruji, ever since childhood, I replied. You have a tiger's paw on your chest, that is why it hurts. I never understood the meaning of what he said. I still don't. With his finger, he traced a line on my chest and said, today, I've changed the direction of one of your nerves. Your chest will not hurt after today. I've never had that pain again. I remember another incident where Guruji went to someone's house and asked the lady of the house to lock her 4-year-old son in the bathroom for a certain number of hours. It seemed a very strange hukum, but she did exactly as told by Guruji. The boy was locked up and Guruji sat with the mother and a few Sangat outside in the bedroom. The boy cried and banged the door till he finally fell asleep. The mother was obviously very upset and was crying too. Finally, after a few hours, I've forgotten exactly how many, Guruji instructed the door to be opened and the boy to be taken out. Guruji then explained, ਇਸਨੂੰ ਵੱਡੇ ਹੋ ਕਰ ਜੇਲ੍ਹ ਹੋ ਜਾਣੀ ਸੀ। ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸਨੂੰ ਉਤਨੇ ਹੀ ਘੰਟੇ ਬਾਥਰੂਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਸ ਦੀ ਜੇਲ੍ਹ ਕੱਟ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ। This boy would have had to go jail when he grew up for as many years as the hours I had him locked up for. Now I have cleared his karma. I have seen Guruji bring a person suffering from a stroke back to normalcy by just holding his pulse for a while or doing a person's dialysis through his photograph. By just one touch, he would bring down a person's high fever or lost memory. He has cured incurable diseases like AIDS and cancer, blindness and deafness. I have also seen him join broken ribs by sprinkling Amrit on a person's chest. He would make our pimples disappear by just touching them. Guruji kalyankari bhi hai aur shingarkari bhi, he would often say. Sitting in Delhi, he joined a broken hip of an 80-year-old woman in Chandigarh. People who could not walk properly have absolutely no problem dancing today. Skin diseases have disappeared overnight with his blessings. Some people would be told by Guruji to travel by air to a particular destination. He would stress on the fact that the travel must be by air and not by train or road. Guruji, they could easily have travelled by road. Why did you stress on them flying down? I asked. ਕਈ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਇਲਾਜ ਨਾ ਤੇ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਤੇ ਨਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਤੇ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ, ਇਸ ਲਈ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹਵਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਡਾਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਰ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ. There are some people who cannot be cured on land or on water. Therefore, I tell them to take a trip by air so I can cure them in air. There was nothing that he couldn't do. ਅਸੀਂ ਮਹਾਪੁਰਸ਼ਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੂਡ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਬੈਸਟ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਲੈਸ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ। ਜੇ ਮੈਂ 11 ਵਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਲੈਸ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ 10 ਵਜੇ ਉੱਠ ਖੜੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਕਹੋ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰੀ ਬਲੈਸਿੰਗਸ ਮਿਸ ਕਰ ਜਾਓਗੇ। ਫਿਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਮੌਜ 5 ਸਾਲ ਨੂੰ ਆਏ ਜਾਂ 50 ਸਾਲ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ। ਇਸ ਲਈ ਜਦੋਂ ਮਹਾਪੁਰਸ਼ ਆਗਿਆ ਦੇਣ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਕਰ ਜਾਓ। We Mahapurush have our moods. We know when it is the best time to bless you. If suppose my mood has come to bless you at 11 p.m. and you get up to take leave at 10 p.m., then you will miss out on my blessings. My mood to bless you again may or may not come in the next 5 or 50 years. I don't know. Therefore, always leave when I tell you to go and not before. ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਹੱਥ ਲਾ ਦਿਆਂ ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਰੋਮ ਰੋਮ ਸ਼ੁੱਧ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਹੱਥ ਲਾ ਲਓ ਤਾਂ 1000 ਪਾਠਾਂ ਦਾ ਫਲ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਹੈ। ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਗਲੇ ਲਾ ਲਿਆ ਤਾਂ 5000 ਪਾਠ ਦਾ ਫਲ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਹੈ। ਸਿਰਫ ਇੱਕ ਮਹਾਪੁਰਸ਼ ਹੀ 5 ਚੋਰਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਮੁਕਤੀ ਦਿਲਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। If I touch someone, his every pore gets purified. If you touch me, you get the benefit of 1000 prayers. If I embrace you, you get the benefit of 5000 prayers. Only a Mahapurush can grant you freedom from the 5 vices, namely pride, ego, anger, temper, greed, urges, attachment, dependency, and lust, addiction. Such are the ways of a guru. One may never completely agree with them or understand them, but everything he does or says has a meaning behind it. Remember, only a guru can see the bigger picture. You and I are not equipped with that kind of a vision.
जय गुरु जी। आज की रीडिंग बस यहीं तक। कल फिर अगले चैप्टर से शुरू करेंगे। उम्मीद करती हूँ आप सबको बहुत अच्छा लगा। सुखमनी आंटी का भी फिर से शुक्राना अपनी इतने ब्यूटीफुल एक्सपीरियंसेस को हमारे साथ शेयर करने के लिए। जय गुरु जी।